Welcome to Official History World, where history comes alive. Explore the events, empires, and people that shaped our world. Subscribe and be part of our journey through time.
What if the greatest stories ever told weren't just stories, but memories written in stone, passed down by those who lived them? Empires rose and fell, kings loved and betrayed, and ordinary people left behind legends. Welcome to the ancient world, where truth, myth, and mystery collide in unforgettable ways. Chapter 1. The Ancient World Begins. Imagine a world with no smartphones, no cars, no electricity, only towering temples, dusty roads, and the sound of sandals on stone. In that world lived people who shaped the course of history. Some ruled kingdoms, others fell in love, fought wars, or chased glory. But their voices weren't lost. One man, Herodotus, made sure of that. Herodotus, often called the father of history, wasn't just a writer. He was a traveler, a listener, a seeker of truth. He journeyed through deserts and across seas, talking to priests, kings, and everyday people. His stories take us from the golden sands of Egypt to the crowded streets of ancient Babylon. And it's through his eyes that we begin this journey. Chapter 2. Kings of Egypt. Picture this. Herodotus stands at the foot of the Great Pyramid. Even back then, it was ancient. The priests he met told stories of pharaohs who ruled like gods. He tried to understand how such giant stones were lifted and what kind of men could order such wonders. One name echoes from that land: Ramesses the Great, a warrior, builder, and ruler for over 60 years. He built temples so grand that his face still looks down on us from the cliffs of Abu Simbel. But behind the statues was a man who knew war, diplomacy, and legacy. Egypt, under him, became a symbol of eternal power. Chapter 3. Babylon's Marriage Market. Now travel with Herodotus east to Babylon, a city of hanging gardens and rich traditions. But what shocked him most wasn't the architecture. It was a strange custom: the marriage market. Beautiful young women were auctioned off to the highest bidders, while the money was used to help less attractive women find husbands too. It sounds brutal to modern ears, but it showed how different and complex ancient societies could be. Herodotus didn't judge. He simply recorded, letting us glimpse a world so unlike our own. Chapter 4. Croesus and Solon. Let's pause in Lydia, where a king named Croesus ruled with incredible wealth. He believed he was the happiest man alive. So when Solon, a wise Athenian, visited, the king asked him, "Who is the happiest man you've ever met?" Solon didn't name Croesus. He named a simple man named Tellus, who raised good sons and died bravely for his city. Solon's message was clear: happiness isn't about gold, but about a life lived well. Later, when Croesus lost everything in war, he remembered Solon's words, too late. Chapter 5. The First East-West Clash. You've heard of the Trojan War, but do you know what led to it? Herodotus tells us that it began with a chain of abductions. The Phoenicians took a Greek princess named Io. The Greeks retaliated by taking Europa. Then came Paris of Troy, stealing Helen from Sparta, a spark that lit the fire of war. But this wasn't just about one couple. It symbolized the clash of civilizations, East and West. The Greeks saw these actions as insults. The Persians remembered them as provocations. Over time, anger built into full-blown war. Chapter 6. The Brave 300. When the powerful Persian Empire sent a huge army to attack and conquer Greece, there was only a small group of soldiers ready to stop them, just 300 Spartans. They were led by their brave king Leonidas. These men chose to make their stand at a narrow mountain pass called Thermopylae. It was a smart place to fight because the Persians couldn't use their full army all at once. Even though the Spartans were heavily outnumbered, they fought with all their strength. Their mission wasn't to win the battle, it was to buy time for the rest of Greece to prepare for the bigger war ahead. In the end, every single one of them was killed. But their bravery and sacrifice were never forgotten. The story of the 300 Spartans became a powerful legend, and King Leonidas was remembered not just as a man, but as a symbol of courage, someone who stood strong even when he knew he couldn't win. He showed the world that sometimes the greatest victory is refusing to give up. Chapter 7. Medea's Revenge. Not all stories are heroic. some are tragic. Medea, a sorceress, fell deeply in love with Jason. She helped him steal the golden fleece, betraying her family for him. But later, Jason left her for another woman. Her revenge? Unthinkable. She poisoned his new bride and even killed their children. This ancient myth shows how love, once pure, can become a storm of hate. A warning from long ago about the darkest corners of the human heart. Chapter 8: Powerful Rulers. Now let's meet some of the most powerful leaders from the ancient world, people whose actions shaped history and whose stories still inspire us today. First, there's Alexander the Great. He was just a young man from Macedonia, but his dreams were bigger than most could imagine. By the time he was 33 years old, he had conquered lands all the way from Greece to India. He never lost a battle. His army followed him across deserts and mountains, and he built one of the largest empires the world had ever seen. To many, he was a hero. To others, he was a conqueror. But no one could ignore his power. Next, we have Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. Before he came to power, Rome was in chaos, torn apart by civil wars. But Augustus brought peace, a long period called the Pax Romana, which means Roman peace. He was clever, careful, and knew how to lead people. Under his rule, Rome grew stronger and richer, and many people finally felt safe again. Then there's Boudica, a brave queen from ancient Britain. When the Romans took her land and hurt her family, she didn't stay silent. She gathered her people, the Iceni tribe, and led a rebellion. Her warriors burned Roman cities and fought fiercely. Though her uprising was crushed in the end, Boudica became a symbol of courage and the fight for freedom. We must remember Hatshepsut, one of Egypt's few female pharaohs. Many doubted her, but she proved them wrong. She ruled with strength, brought peace, grew trade, and built great temples. And finally, Hammurabi, the king of Babylon. He did something no one had done before. He wrote down the laws of his land for everyone to see. His code of laws was simple and strict. If you did something wrong, there was a clear punishment. One famous rule was an eye for an eye. This meant justice had to be fair, but strong. These leaders were all different, some wise, some powerful, but each helped shape the world we know today. Chapter 9: The Warrior Women. What if we told you there were entire tribes of warrior women who fought just as fiercely as men? The Amazons, were they real or legend? Herodotus and others wrote about them, fierce, independent, and brave. They lived without men, trained as warriors, and rode horses into battle. They fought heroes like Achilles and Hercules, and their stories challenge everything we think we know about gender in the ancient world. Real or not, their legend shows us that power comes in many forms. Chapter 10: Love and Betrayal Across Time. Even beyond the ancient world, these themes repeated. In 18th century India, British men and Indian women formed relationships filled with love and conflict, just like Jason and Medea, or Helen in Paris. William Dalrymple writes of those couples in White Muggles. Their stories show us how love across cultures can be beautiful and tragic. These human emotions, love, anger, ambition, grief, haven't changed. We see them in today's headlines. We feel them in our own lives. The people of the ancient world are gone, but their stories still breathe. In every battle, every broken heart, every grand empire, and every quiet life, we see ourselves. These aren't just old tales. They're mirrors, showing us what we value, what we fear, what we dream of. And by listening to them, we understand more about our own world. So which story left you speechless? Was it the fierce stand of the 300, the chilling revenge of Medea, or the wisdom of Solon that even a king had to learn the hard way? Let us know in the comments, and if you love exploring the past, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow history lovers. There are thousands more stories waiting to be told, and we'll be here, ready to guide you through them. Until next time, remember, history isn't just behind us, it's part of who we are.